Hey everybody, this is Miss Eisencraft with a lesson recap video. So today we talked about two-way tables, and this comes to us from our new unit, Unit 3. So Algebra 1, Unit 3, Lesson 1. And the topic is two-way tables. So in your new book, this starts on page 6. It says Lesson 1, Two-way tables. We presented this in Desmos, this lesson, but you also could have recorded in your book. So I'm here to kind of go over what it was if you want to hear it again, or perhaps you missed it. So Unit 3 is all about two variable statistics. And one of the ways that we can organize statistics or categorical data or variables is in tables, especially when we're looking at a single subject with two different categories. It can get very confusing tracking all the information. So a simple way to do this reminds me of like a spreadsheet. So it is called a two-way table. If you look here, here are some examples of what a two-way table looks like. It looks like a simple spreadsheet, right? Notice this top left corner, there's nothing here. Okay, here's another one. Just kidding, there's not another one. Here's another one here. Okay, and then you'll notice sometimes, like in the practice problems, they'll have like this total column. And sometimes that and sometimes they leave that off, like here. So let's talk about what a two-way table is. So a two-way table would be something you would use. Let's say you're going to give a survey to somebody, okay? And basically, you're going to ask them two questions. So like you would have these little strips, or like this would be a survey online. They could answer, they can only check one, and there's only two questions, okay? Are you a high school student or teacher? They would check one. Do you prefer walking or yoga? Okay. So yes, you would be restricted. You have to choose one and only one, right? And it would be understood that you're only interviewing high school students or teachers, and that they have to just choose a preference, right? Walking or yoga. So I just made up some fake data here. So how you read this would be, say, the results from the survey. Okay. Any number that gets tabulated here would be the people that said they are high school students and prefer walking. People in this category are all the high school students that prefer yoga. Down here, all the teachers that were surveyed that prefer walking. And over here, all the teachers that were surveyed that prefer yoga. You can also look at totals over here to the side. And I think it's most helpful to like draw arrows. So when you're looking down this way, this total down here, this total will be all the people surveyed, high school and teachers. How many people prefer walking? 35. Okay. If you look down here, how many people prefer yoga? The rest of them, right? 47. Okay. So the number of people, total people surveyed that prefer walking is 35. The number of total people surveyed that prefer yoga, 47. Okay. And then you also can look across this way and do totals this way. Well, how many high school kids did we survey? It looks like, I'm just going to add these up. What is that? 48. 48 high school students were surveyed. And how many teachers were surveyed? Am I adding? 34. Okay. I just went across here. So yes, I like to think of them as subtotals, right? You're just looking at the total of this category. How many high school students were surveyed? 48. And this is how they broke apart their preferences. How many teachers were surveyed? 34. And that's how their preferences broke apart. Okay. How many said walking? 35. Well, that's how many teachers said walking. That's how many high school kids said walking. And maybe you're using this information because you want to have an after school teacher student club. Oh my gosh, how fun, right? And you're deciding, should we do yoga or a walking club? And so you're trying to survey enough students and teachers to see what they prefer. Okay. So if you want to figure out the grand total of everybody that was surveyed, what you can do is either you could add up all the cells here, right here inside, or you could take the subtotals and see what they add up to. One way to make sure you've added it all up correctly is that these four numbers should be everybody surveyed, right? So if I add those up, don't want to make any mistakes. I see we surveyed 82 people. And that should jive with the totals here. How many high school students and teachers were surveyed? That 48 plus 34, it should all work. Woo, 82. And if you look at the people that like walking and yoga, 35 plus 47, 82. Okay, so that's basically how it works. And the whole goal of today's lesson was how can you just take simple information and put it into these tables and interpret what it means. So sometimes when the totals are missing, don't get confused. It's just they didn't total it up for you. You can always just straight across go across. And when you are finding this total, recognize what you are finding by looking at this label over here, right? And then when you're looking at an individual cell here, you're looking at an intersection. Like here, you're looking at high school students who like yoga. All right. So just to summarize, let's take a look at the lesson one summary here. A variable is a characteristic that can take on different values. A categorical variable is a variable that takes on values that can be divided into groups or categories. So this is categories instead of just plain numbers. Data from two categorical variables about a single subject. So we're asking each person, like, do you have a cell phone? How old are you? Okay. We can organize that in a two-way table. Okay. This two-way table shows the results from 170 responses. So all of this is going to add up to 170 to a survey asking two questions. What's your age group? So they would check which age group and whether or not they have a cell phone. So the 38 means that 38 out of the 170 people surveyed are both in the 13 to 15-year-old category and have a cell phone. Okay, the two-way table also shows that 55 people surveyed do not have cell phones. So where they get that is it's kind of understood that you would just know to get the total by adding up. If you want to know how many total people surveyed did not have a cell phone, you could just add that up and get 55. Okay. You could also add this up. It should be the remaining people that don't have a cell phone. The rest of them should. And we know there's 170. It's just the leftovers. We can also just add this up. 25 plus 38 plus 52, 115. These two together should equal all the people surveyed. And a nice spot to put that is like in that corner, 170. You also can add across, just see, well, how many 10 to 12-year-olds were surveyed? 60. How many 13 to 15-year-olds? 50. And how many 16 to 18-year-olds? 60. And once again, this should add up to 170 as well. So these two-way tables are just a way to organize information that you're gathering to help understand it better, and then maybe use it. We will be using it later to kind of, I guess, make sense of the data to see if there's anything interesting that comes from the data. All right. Hope that helped.